Hi, friends. This is the reading lesson for third grade. We are going to read a story today called All Kinds of Communities. We are on page 12 in your booklet. We are going to read half of the story today, and then we will read the other half tomorrow. We are going to be learning about different types of communities, what they look like, what they have, what kind of people live there, what kind of jobs the people have. So there are many different types of communities in our world, and we will be learning about a few of them that we can find in the United States. So make sure you have your highlighters handy. We will be highlighting key details. So as it's going through, make sure you're highlighting things that you find to be important, and then we will be writing main ideas today. Remember, a main idea is just one or two sentences that kind of summarize what that section is about. So if you're ready to highlight, we will go ahead and get started.
Extended Read 1. Remember to annotate as you read.
All Kinds of Communities by Lisa Benjamin. People across the world live in all kinds of communities. A community is the place where you live. It can be a crowded city, a tiny town, or a suburb somewhere in between. Communities across the United States vary in many ways besides size. Sometimes it is the land or the physical environment that makes the difference. Some communities are in the middle of the country. Others are on the coasts. Some communities are cold most of the year. Others have warm weather year-round. Some communities are rainy wetlands, while others are dry deserts. Sometimes it is the type of jobs that makes a community different. For instance, many people in Gloucester, Massachusetts, make their living catching fish. Eugene, Oregon, is an area with forests. Lumber mills are a big business there.
All right, so I know we just learned a lot of information here. I want to make sure that you have a couple things highlighted so far. So you need to make sure that you have the definition of a community, which can be found in paragraph 1. A community is the place where you live. Then it kind of goes and it kind of defines or kind of tells you how communities are defined. So it says that they can be defined, that they vary in ways besides just size. So might want to highlight that part of it. But then we also learn that sometimes it's the physical land or environment that makes a community different, and it gives you some examples. Sometimes it's the types of jobs that make a community different, and then it gives some example. So communities can be defined by size, the land or physical environment, the jobs, and we're going to learn one other way.
Millions of people live in this community. Only a few thousand people live in this community.
Sometimes it is the population, or the people, that can make a community different. In some towns, many residents were born and raised in the area. They have their traditions, a special way of doing things. In some cities, many residents are new. They have come from all over the world to live there. They bring their own culture or way of doing things. However, all communities have one thing in common. Each one is a place that people call home. Meet 3 people from different communities across the United States. Let them tell you why their hometowns are special.
All right, so before we turn the page, we also learned that a population, or the people, can make a community different as well. Now, if you live in Poway, Poway has a population of around 50,000 people. If you live in San Diego, and now Poway's kind of within San Diego, but not technically San Diego, there is 1.41 million people in San Diego. So San Diego, big city, right? especially compared to a place like Poway, who only has like 50,000. So we're going to learn about 3 different communities as we read the rest of this story today and tomorrow. So let's go ahead and turn the page, and then we'll come back and write our main idea.
Farmersville, a rural community, by Mason Streeter.
All right, don't forget to highlight as you read about Farmersville, a rural community. And you can probably just tell by its name, what type of place is this?
My town, Farmersville, is in a rural area of northern Texas. Rural means it is in the country, but that doesn't mean we are hicks. Dallas is only 35 miles away. We can drive there in half an hour. As the name of my town says, we have a lot of farms here. Farmers have called this place home since 1849. My great-great-great, and maybe one more great-granddaddy, came here then. The area's fertile, black soil was perfect for growing crops. Those first settlers planted cotton, which became a big part of the area's economy. An economy includes all the businesses and workers in an area.
All right, let's stop there and make sure that we have some specific highlights highlighted. Okay, so we want to know that rural means it's in the country. Okay, so it's not like the fast and busy city. However, it's not too far from a big city. They can drive to Dallas, Texas in just 30 minutes. We also know that Farmersville has a lot of farms and fields. So maybe we highlight this caption down here that we haven't read yet. But they have fields and farms, and we know that when people settled here, they planted cotton, which really became a big part of the area's economy. And you probably should highlight economy just to make sure you know what that means. An economy includes businesses and workers in the area. So this area was great for cotton. Let's go ahead and keep reading.
Farmersville is a rural town in northern Texas. In 2012, the population was 3,414 people. There are many fields in Farmersville. Football and cheerleading are popular in Farmersville. Cotton was king here until 1925. Then one farmer planted onions, and that turned into a bumper crop. Soon, other farmers planted onions. Onions became so big that the community started an onion festival in 1935. Now we have Old Time Saturday once a year. People dress up, go to the festival, and spend the day as they would have back in the times before TV. Today, many people in Farmersville still work in farming. Onions remain a major crop, along with cotton and corn. The first Saturday of each month, farmers from the area sell their goods at a local market called the Onion Shed. People come from all over, even big city Dallas, to buy my community's fresh-grown food.
All right, so we also learned that football and cheerleading are popular in Farmersville. Football is huge down in Texas. We also know that people started planting onions, and they even have an onion festival once a year. So that's pretty cool. People dress up, go to the festival, and spend the day as they would back in the olden days. Sounds fun. And then it says today, many people in Farmersville still work in farming, that onions are a major crop, and cotton and corn. And the first on the first Saturday of each month, the farmers sell their goods at a local market called the Onion Shed. Kind of a funny name, but they love those onions, huh? And people come from all over to buy the community's fresh grown food. Wow. So just a little bit of information about this cute little rural city, or town rather, of Farmersville. So we're actually going to start by writing our main idea for Farmersville. So go ahead and get your pencils ready. And we know that farming is an important part of Farmersville. However, there are also other things that are important, like football and cheerleading. So we are going to basically write that. So we know that farming is an important part of life in Farmersville, but it is not the only thing, but it is not the only part, excuse me. We'll say because people like festivals, football, and cheerleading, right? So go ahead and write that main idea. If you need to pause the video to finish, go ahead. And then we're going to flip back to page 13 and 12. And we're going to kind of summarize in like one sentence what we learned about communities. So we're going to say a community, we're going to use the definition. So let's put it in quotation marks. A community is a place where people live. I guess where you live, we should say, since we're using quotation marks. And then we're going to say communities differ by, and I want you to fill in those 4 blanks that we learned about. So they're in paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and paragraph 4. Okay, so you're going to say communities differ and look at your highlights of things we talked about. I'm not going to tell you any more hints because they are all in your highlights. When you are done writing that, you're going to submit it on Canvas. You can either read it or type it out, but make sure you read the whole thing. A community is a place where you live. Communities differ by blank, 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 and blank. Go ahead and fill those in, and then we will continue reading tomorrow. That is all for today, friends. Great job. We'll see you later.